The Britten-Norman BN-2 Islander is a 1960s British light utility aircraft, regional airliner and cargo aircraft designed and originally manufactured by Britten-Norman of the United Kingdom. The Islander is one of the best-selling commercial aircraft types produced in Europe. Although designed in the 1960s, over 750 are still in service with commercial operators around the world. The aircraft is also used by the British Army and police forces in the United Kingdom and is a light transport with over 30 military aviation operators around the world. After Fairey Aviation acquired the Britten-Norman Company, their Islanders and Trislander aircraft were built in Romania, then shipped to Avions Fairey for finishing and then flown to the UK for flight certification. The Islander is also known for servicing the two airports joined by the shortest scheduled flight in the world, a leg of Lugano's inter-island service, Lugano Flight 353, from Papa Westray Airport to Westray Airport. The distance is 1.7 mi and the scheduled flight time including taxiing is 2 minutes. Design and development. Britten-Norman was started in 1953 to convert and operate agricultural aircraft. It also produced hovercraft. Design of the Islander started in 1963 and the first prototype BN-2 first flew on June 13, 1965, with the second prototype on August 20, 1966. Both of these aircraft had engines that were less powerful than the production versions. The Islander is a high-wing cantilever monoplane with a rectangular fuselage and two wing-mounted engines. The fuselage, which has a conventional tail unit and fixed tricycle landing gear, will usually accommodate one pilot and up to 9 passengers. The production Islander first flew on April 24, 1967 and was certified in August 1967. Production started at the Britten-Norman factory at Bembridge, Isle of Wight, but within a few years the company could not keep up with demand. A contract was placed with Irma of Romania, initially to produce aircraft from a kit of parts, but the Romanian factory soon became the main source for production Islanders. A military version of the Islander, marketed as the Defender and first flown in 1970, had underwing hardpoints and was fitted out as a light troop transport and support aircraft. The second prototype was developed into a stretched Super Islander, but the program was stopped and the aircraft was used as a basis of the 3-engine version, the Trilander. The company had financial difficulties and by the end of 1970 went into receivership. In 1972 the company was bought by the Fairey Aviation Group and production of the Islander and Trislander was moved to their factory in Gosselies, Belgium, although the aircraft were flown to Bembridge for final customer preparation. The new company developed the Turbo Islander with Lycoming LTP-101 turboprops, but the engines were too powerful for the aircraft and the design evolved into the Turbine Islander with Allison 250 turboprops. Fairey then suffered financial problems and called in the receiver, and the Fairey Britten-Norman Company was sold to Pilatus of Switzerland. An improved version, the BN-2 Islander, first flew in 1969. It incorporated aerodynamic and flight equipment improvements as well as changes to the baggage arrangements. In 1977 a standard BN-2 was re-engined with ducted fans. It was later reverted to standard engines and sold. In 1978 a further improved version, the BN-2B Islander 2 was introduced. Improvements included increased carrying capacity and propeller modifications to reduce noise levels. Options included a long-nosed version for increased baggage capacity, braked wingtip auxiliary fuel tanks and twin Allison 250 B17C turboprop engines. When the latter are installed the aircraft is designated the BN-2T Turbine Islander. The Defender 4000 is a military conversion of the Islander, capitalizing on its rugged structure for use in developing countries. Purchases from police and military customers centers on use in surveillance and counter-terrorism operations. The Maritime Defender is another military version of the Islander, intended for search and rescue, coastal patrol and fishery protection. Licensed production companies in addition to Britten-Norman have manufactured the Islander. Intraprinderia de Reparatur Material Aeronautic from Romania has been building the aircraft since 1969, as have Sinarca, in Gosselies, Belgium, 35 have also been assembled by the National Aero Manufacturing Corporation in the Philippines. Trilander. A design project to develop an Islander with a larger capacity resulted in the BN-2 Mk3 Trilander. This aircraft has a stretched fuselage, modified landing gear and a third engine. The prototype was constructed from the original second BN-2 prototype and flew on September 11, 1970. Variants. BN-2, prototype first flown in 1966 with two 260 horsepower Lycoming 0540 E4B5 piston engines. BN-2A, production version with minor modification from prototype and increased takeoff weight. BN-2A2, a BN-2A with modified flaps, and two 300 horsepower Lycoming I0540K1B5 engines. BN-2A3, a BN-2A2 with increased wingspan and fitted with extra wingtip fuel tanks. BN-2A6, a BN-2A with wing leading edge modifications and two 260 horsepower Lycoming 0540 E4C5 engine. BN-2A7, a BN-2A6 with increased wingspan and fuel capacity. BN-2A8, a BN-2A6 with droop flaps. BN-2A9, a BN-2A7 with droop flaps. BN-2A10, a BN-2A8 with increased takeoff weight and 270 horsepower Lycoming TI-0540H1A engines. BN-2A20, a BN-2A2 with increased takeoff weight and minor improvements. BN-2A21, a BN-2A3 with increased takeoff weight. BN-2A23, a BN-2A21 with lengthened nose. BN-2A24, a BN-2A26 with lengthened nose. BN-2A25, a BN-2A27 with lengthened nose. BN-2A26, a BN-2A8 with increased takeoff weight. BN-2A27, a BN-2A9 with increased takeoff weight. BN-2A30, a BN-2A20 fitted with floats. Twin floats were attached to the undercarriage legs and incorporated retractable landing gear. BN-2A41, turbo Islander with lengthened nose, droop flaps and two Lycoming LTP101 turboprops, first flown in 1977. Britten-Norman BN-2B Defender, Defender military variant with 300 horsepower IO540K1B5 engines and underwing hardpoints and military modifications. BN-2B20, a BN-2A20 with improved soundproofing and increased landing weight and other minor modifications. BN-2B21, a BN-2A21 with Model B improvements. BN-2B26, a BN-2A26 with Model B improvements. BN-2B27, a BN-2A27 with Model B improvements. BN-2T, turbine Islander based on BN-2A26 with two 320 shp Allison 250B17C turboprops. Islander ALMK-1, twin-engined communications, reconnaissance aircraft for the British Army. 7 built. Used for aerial reconnaissance and photography in Northern Ireland during Operation Banner. They were part of No. 1 Flight, Army Air Corps and were based at Aldergrove. Islander CCMK-2 and CCMK-2A, twin-engined communications aircraft for the RAF. 3 operated. Maritime Defender, armed maritime reconnaissance and patrol aircraft. BN-2A3 Trilander, 3-engine Trilander, a stretch BN-2A with 18 seats and 3 260 horsepower Lycoming 0540 E4C5 piston engines. Operators. Specifications. Data from the Observer's Book of Aircraft, 1976. General characteristics, crew, 1 or 2, capacity, up to 9 passengers, length, 35 feet 8 inches, wingspan, 49 feet, height, 13 feet 9 in, wing area, 325 FTA squared, empty weight, 3,675 pounds, loaded weight, up to 6,600 pounds, max takeoff weight, 6,600 pounds, power plant, BN-2 Lycoming 0540 E4C5 or I0540, 260 horsepower or 300 horsepower if fuel injected each. Performance, maximum speed, 170 miles per hour, cruise speed, 160 miles per hour, stall speed, 40 miles per hour, minimum controllable speed, 45 miles per hour, range, 874 miles, service ceiling, 13,200 feet, rate of climb, 970 feet per minute, wing loading, 20 pounds FTA squared. See also, related development, Britten-Norman Trislander, Britten-Norman Defender, aircraft of comparable role, configuration and era, de Havilland Canada DHC-6 Twin Otter, Dornier Do 28, references, notes. Bibliography. External links, Islander at Britten-Norman.com.